They're talking about mortgage holdings at a bank whose clients are super interest rate sensitive. The whole thing, top to bottom, in my opinion, is just horribly mismanaged. And the fact that we're giving anybody a buy in this instance is so nothing to be proud of.
And whether individuals should be bailed out, the bank should be bailed out. Do you hold these depositors effectively accountable?
My mom's 87 years old. She still moves her money around. She's very cognizant of insured up to what 250,000 means. And I don't suspect there's a lot of businesses that could have less than that, which means they need to do their due diligence and where they domicile their money. No sorry feelings for anybody. And when I hear stories that people are happy that they've done this because their relatives have deposits, my guess is all the relatives were thinking about probably handle their money with more care than the clients of this bank.
So with the fall of all these banks, people are starting to realize that these banks aren't here to help you. They're here to take your money, lend it out, make money on your money, effectively stealing from you. There's only one way you can really own your own money, and that is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, there is no middleman. You can hold your own Bitcoin in your wallet. Nobody can take it from you, and it can't be inflated away by some third party. So have you invested in Bitcoin yet? And in today's clip, we'll be checking out what Tim Draper has to say about what's been going on with Silicon Valley Bank, on top of some technical analysis for Bitcoin as well, and a huge Bitcoin indicator that could potentially be really, really bullish. So make sure to stay tuned for all this information. But we can see right here, Tim Draper is saying on Twitter, he says, "I've been advocating for CFOs to keep some cash in Bitcoin for a while now as a hedge against bad government and the banking system. The Silicon Valley Bank crisis might keep companies who didn't buy at least some Bitcoin from making payroll on Monday. This is a Main Street problem." So we're starting to understand how unsustainable what the Federal Reserve is doing. They're raising interest rates to try and curb inflation down, even though interest rates and inflation aren't a direct correlation. There are a lot of things that go into the CPI numbers that make prices go up and down year over year. And as they continue to raise interest rates, it's putting a lot of pressure on the economy. And we can see that right now with banks like Silicon Valley starting to go under. And it just shows that they're starting to break things. So things could potentially get worse here throughout 2023, or this may just be a blimp on the radar. We have yet to see what happens. But one thing that we do know is true is that the Federal Reserve, the government officials, Congress will continue to print money endlessly for years and years to come. This is why Bitcoin is the perfect money, the perfect asset. Nobody can print any more Bitcoin. It's decentralized. Only you can control your own BTC. It is one of the most perfect assets, and this is what Satoshi created Bitcoin for. The 2008 financial crisis was the reason why Bitcoin was created. So put that in perspective. What's happening right now with these banks going under gives Bitcoin an even bigger use case. And we can see this article here. This is from Forbes. They say a dark day for Silicon Valley banks is Bitcoin's time to shine. So you can see right now, people are really starting to understand the differences between a bank, how a bank takes your money. It's an IOU. They basically just lend your money out as soon as they get it. They don't have to take that much money and hold it in cash because of fractional reserve banking. They can basically do whatever they want with your money. And something like Bitcoin, where you can buy Bitcoin, put it in your cold storage wallet, have it, nobody is going to be lending your money out. You can actually own your own cash. So people are starting to understand that, and that is the purpose and reason why Bitcoin was created. So to look at the charts here, Bitcoin actually bounced off of this news. We had Bitcoin sell off a bit because of the bad inflation reading that we got in February. But once Silicon Valley Bank went under, people start to recognize what Bitcoin is actually going to be useful for. And you can see we're getting 3 pretty big green candles here on the daily. So some people are saying this is a local top. We have a double top pattern playing out here potentially. So we could see Bitcoin come back down and test some of these lower levels. That is definitely not out of the cards. But I do believe everything that's going on right now, it just goes to show you why you should have at least some Bitcoin in your investment portfolio or on your balance sheet if you're a business or corporation. So let's go ahead and get into this massive Bitcoin news that could potentially send the Bitcoin price skyrocketing. Let's go ahead and check it out here.
To Matthew in Texas. Matthew.
Hey, Jim. I'm wondering, with continued distrust in our banking system and the Federal Reserve, does this strengthen the investment case for Bitcoin?
No. Bitcoin went up today, and I could argue that now it can't even be held in banks. Bitcoin's a strange animal. I will say point blank, I think it's being manipulated up. It was being manipulated the whole time by Sam Bankman-Fried. So please don't assume, therefore, that it's not still being manipulated. And I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin. Not here, not now.
Jim Cramer, notoriously known for making bad calls in the crypto and stock market. So let's see if he's right this time or wrong. I guess we'll see over the next couple months. But you guys know that Silicon Valley Bank, a lot of the politicians right now are trying to say, hey, we're not bailing them out. We have some money set aside in case this happens in the future. So they did have $100 billion set aside, but it does seem like a bailout. That money was generated from taxpayer money, so it is technically a bailout in my opinion. Some politicians would definitely disagree. But it just goes to show you that if anything breaks in our system, if a bank goes under, if the real estate market goes under, the Federal Reserve, our government, will print money so nothing breaks. They do not want to see another 2008. We will continue to bail out companies, big businesses. They will not allow any of these big corporations to go under, because they'll just print out more money, give it to them, make sure they're okay, make sure they have enough money to pay the depositors, make sure they have enough cash to keep the business going. So we know that's happening in the future. That just means that we'll have more inflation in the future, higher asset values in the future. And I even remember back in 2020 when COVID happened, they printed out trillions of dollars. They were cutting unemployment checks to people, giving them like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month. They were also deferring mortgage payments. There was a lot they were doing. They were printing out money to save the economy because they didn't want anything to go under. So anytime anything goes into distress, the government's solution is to print money and give it out. And you can see the Federal Reserve has been trying to play around what the government officials do. You can see we had interest rates back here before 2015. They're at about 0. And then we had a little hike back here in late 2018, and then that basically went back down to 0 when COVID happened. And then now we're having all this crazy inflation. They've hiked it to just crazy numbers, and they may continue to hike. But if something breaks, if something happens to where they have to bail out a lot of people, these numbers will come down extremely fast. I mean, just see back here in 2020, we were at around 2.5% interest rates. That went to 0 very quickly. So we could see something like that happen in the future if we do see some things break because of the rate hikes. It's very interesting to think about how higher rate hikes could potentially lead to lower rate hikes if something breaks because of them. But thank you guys for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you found any value, make sure to hit that like button. My name is Aaron from the Bitcoin Bros. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.